Hello everybody, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. Gonna make a little video for you this morning. I woke up early here and I made this Facebook post. You can see it there. I didn't see the attic motion light on last night and wondered if it could finally be over. That's hard to imagine, you know. And these crimes have been going on every single day for so long. It is hard for me to imagine, you know. That is a change in modus operandi to not see that light on. And so here I was thinking, you know, it wasn't that long ago that I went up in the attic and I filmed it, and I'm going to show you that, what it looks like here. All right, I just got up here in my attic. I've been up here since I installed that security light. I'm going to show you here, and I'll show you where that security light is. It's right over there, and it's over my bedroom. And that's the one that comes on every day on my TV. There it is, and that's right over my TV. And so anybody gets in front of that area, that light comes on, and I can see it above my TV. Okay, and so you know, I just made I thought that was odd. You know, I usually wake up several times during the night and go to the bathroom, whatever, and you know, it's easy when it's dark to see the lights on. And last night it just wasn't on at all, you know. So here I went on my next Facebook post, and I thought, you know, a week ago I had made this video right here, and so I uploaded this video. That was on August 31st is when I made that video. It says, the burglar just banged on the rafter to let me know they're still here. I wrote that just a minute ago, and actually I've heard them twice. But maybe the light bulb is out of the security, you know, the light bulb's out or something. I don't know. Here was the last video that I made showing the attic light was on, and it's dated a week ago. But this happens every single day and was going on before I moved here. I found out that the previous owner was reporting these same crimes before he died here, okay? And so I'm going to show you this video right now. I just made an email a second ago, and I said, it's been oddly quiet in my house, and I haven't seen the light on in the attic all day. I seen it last night, you know. Anyway, I emailed myself, and of course, also wrote, I can't imagine the crime stopping after non-stop daily crimes for 10 years, you know. Fixing to go to bed right now. And there it is. Lights on right now. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, see, I knew that. There was no way, you know. I mean, this is like nonstop, 24/7. I mean, that these are not squatters, you know. These are, I think they're paid criminals, paid to protect the underground facility. Because just imagine what happens when that gets exposed. You know, the police go to jail for their part in the capital attempted murder. You know, the little girls murdered, the previous homeowners murdered, the doctors are killing people for profit, the underground pedophile parties. You know, I mean, they want to make sure that the underground homes that are put in for the bushes are not exposed, because they know I'll expose it if they're not here, you know. So they're sitting there with a gun on top of me 24/7. That's my life. Here's how I go to sleep. I bolt my door shut, you know. And on to my next comment here, it says, my first call to the police for a felony burglary was November 9th, 2010. But that was for somebody in the main part of my home. My second call for a burglary was on January 8, 2012, and that time I heard somebody in my attic. I was so freaked out, and that was so many crimes ago. A year later, on January 28, 2012, I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going off in the attic. The crimes have never stopped. Let that sink in. In 2010, that was my first, and I moved here in 2008. That's when the last homeowner died, and you know, and obviously the crimes were going on then too. This here is the two police report. The first one from November 9th, 2010, right here. Okay, and you can see the date on it, and I didn't hear anybody in the attic. Just somebody inside my home. And automatically on the very first call, complainant possibly 1096. So here I'm a 28-year company man, granddad, homeowner. I recognize somebody's in my home, and the police come over and automatically go, oh, he's crazy, right? You know, they were already setting me up, because that is modus operandi to cover up. This police corruption is the reason these crimes work, you know. I mean, you know, it's not just a nationwide organized crime. It's a significant amount of police corruption, and what they do is destroy the life of the crime victim, you know, by you know, the slander and lies, and to allow these crimes to happen. Theft, murder, burglary, etc. Okay. This is my second call for a felony burglary. Keep in mind, people go to prison for like 10 years for breaking into a private home. It happens at this home every single day. Okay. This is a felony. And so this, can hear noises in the attic. I'm in the closet with my shotgun. Interestingly, the wife or the husband of Secret Police April Chandler was on that first call, Michael Chandler right here. And on this second call for a burglary, they were full out blown. He's crazy, automatically. And so that's what they do, not to me, but all of the other crime victims too, because there's a lot more crime victims than just me, But I'm going to show you them first. That's how long these crimes have been going on. That's just when I realized it. It was going on before that, Okay, I'm going to show you here. A friend of Mike Lahan, he's the young previous owner. He's like 27, died October 12th, 2008. A friend of Mike Lahan's told me that he was saying that people were in this home before he died. And the next door neighbor told me one time, the last 4 people living in your home didn't live there long. Ha ha ha. The last one's dead, and I crawled out on my hands and knees or I'd be dead too. I was told the underground Safehouse project for then Vice President George H.W. Bush was finished in 1987. That's 34 years of daily crimes. That's what I'm thinking. That's how long this is going on. And, because I recorded Layla telling me she worked on this underground project here. They had a budget of $7.35 million. She named, the company she worked for, called it the Safehouse project. Another woman said there's 4 3-bedroom homes to be buried at least 25 foot deep, each costing $1 million a piece. Said they were having pedophile parties down there. It's believed that's where the oil show parties were going on, where the little girl was murdered at in 2010, etc. This is Mike Lahan's obituary, and his death certificate says he died in Fort Worth. Neighbor told me he died in this home, and that other evidences seem to confirm that. I believe Mike was murdered here and taken to Fort Worth. But then a Facebook friend that I met because of going online and all that, she wrote this to me. She says, so I talked to a friend of mine that was really good friends with Mike. So her friends was friends with Mike Lahan, and that's Mike up there. Okay, the guy that lived here in the house before you did. He'd been hanging out with Mike. He said Mike would always talk about how he felt like people were in his house, how he knew people were in his house. Okay, so these crimes were going on before I moved here. Okay, and and based on what the next door neighbor said, the last 4 owners, they were going on before Mike moved here, so they're literally killing one homeowner after another. Okay, the ex-wife had told me you were chosen to buy this home, which could only mean that the crimes started against me before I moved to Midland, and it also means they chose for Mike Lahan to die, which is called capital murder. That just makes sense, right? I now believe that my Hobbs home was rigged like this one and the many others where the owners are reporting people in the attic, and I moved in that home in 1992. That home and the one next to it was built by my first in-laws, Ann and Don Callaway. My guess is they rigged it, and then I was tricked into buying it without a clue that daily crimes were being committed against me. I lived there for 16 years. Okay. In 2002, Jordan, my youngest daughter, had noticed a light was on in the attic of the Hobbs home. That's Hobbs, New Mexico. And I knew that I hadn't been up there. I had assumed Cindy, the ex-wife at the time, had sneaked into my home and got up there as we were going through a divorce at the time, but she told me before she died that she hadn't. That means somebody else had, and would explain why my dad quit talking to me after he married Ann Callaway. Okay, because my mom died the month before I'm ambushed and shot with still unanswered questions, and then Don Callaway dies just a couple weeks before I'm ambushed and shot, and then my dad marries Ann Callaway and quits talking to me. Okay, you see how that works? And who built the Hobbs home? Ann and Don Callaway. Okay, this is Cindy here. This is who I was married to there in Hobbs, and we were on Facebook. This is like 28. She died in 2018. This is right before she died. That's another thing I wonder. She goes to the hospital and then she dies, and I think Cindy had information on the crime ring. I wonder how many people this crime ring's murdered. I wondered if they murdered Cindy. Okay, but anyway, she's right. And you're a liar. I never came to home after the day I left. The only one in the attic was you. I'm embarrassed. I'm acknowledging you. Which she was lying there because she got caught on a recorder. Okay, and I said I came home from work and found a message on my voice recorder where person called asking for you, you could hear them say, "Is Cindy there?" And you picked up the phone and said hello and hung up the recorder. It was time stamped. I called the police. I had proof you were in my home. And she's like, "Whatever, it's bullshit, you know." And then I said, "So did you get up in the attic or not? It's proven you were in my home." I mean, we're not arguing about whether you were in my home or not. We're arguing if I'm wanting to know if you were in the attic, because the attic light was on, because my daughter had seen that light on and I hadn't been up there. And she says, "I don't know anybody wants to kill you," which that, you know, it really don't matter. But then here's Cindy says, "I never got in the freaking attic." And I'm sitting there thinking, you know, that sounds just like Cindy. And if Cindy did get in the freaking attic, that means somebody else got in the freaking attic. And that means that home was rigged like all these other homes is rigged. And that's where I'm looking back and putting it all together. That home was built by the in-laws, by Ann and Don Callaway. I've now documented almost 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic from California to Alabama, with a dozen addresses in Midland and another dozen in Odessa. Obviously, that's the tip of the iceberg, and I suspect there may be thousands of these homes rigged without the owners even knowing. This is nationwide organized crime and lawlessness. Just yesterday, and that was a video I made yesterday, that guy wrote me wanting to know how to, you know, tear gas the attic, you know, made a video about that because he's got people in his attic here in Midland. It was a guy here in Midland that is reporting people in the attic, you know. These are all addresses here, and some of them I actually have the addresses. A lot of them are from my police scanner. You know, I've recorded the dispatcher dispatching the police to a home because the owner reported somebody in the attic. Same thing in Odessa here. Here's a whole list of them. A lot of them are from the police scanner. Other ones, people contacted me. Sometimes I don't get the address. You know, there's different stories. One home over in Odessa, I went over and made a video about. You know, I mean, you know, sometimes I've recorded people. And then you got all these other people from, like I said, California to Alabama. There's multiple states, many different stories of these people reporting people in the attic. I saw a young Hispanic guy in the attic. This is not a what if, could be. This is going on. That's all there is to it, you know. And a couple Facebook posts here I thought was interesting. You'll never find justice in a world where criminals make all the rules and it's a bear and then there's a bear behind him, you know. And I wrote at the top, I said, breaking into private homes and murdering one homeowner after another has to be crossing a line, you know. I mean, I understand that we got some police corruption going on here, but are we crossing a line? And here, this was the post I did right before that one. And it says, Texas couple admit housing close to 100 migrants at Rio Grande Valley Home Motel. Okay, and I commented on this and I said many times I've heard more than one or two people in my attic, and I suspected it may be connected with the illegal immigration and human trafficking. We're close to the border here in Midland. Okay, I was sure that more than one person was here on the night they ambushed and shot me, because it's known that one of them was trapped in my guest bathroom, another was in the attic setting off the burglar alarms over and over, and yet another person was under my home waiting for me to walk by so they could get a kill shot. That's at least 3 people. In fact, the ex-wife had told me in so many words that a lot of people were here that night. Her exact words were, "You don't know how many lives that you ruined with your idiocy." I suspect that she was calling my idiocy as trying to stop these criminals who are breaking into my home, stealing from me, and threatening my life. And they're stealing TVs, they're stealing electricity, heating, cooling, services, okay? And then, of course, stealing your privacy and threatening your life. But, of course, how could I ruin anybody's life by staying home and minding my own business, right? They did that to themselves when they chose to break into a private home. They, come to my home. And obviously, they were in the underground home in the backyard that was put in for the bushes where the oil show parties were going on. I believe, a party was going on that night. And it's now known that police were under my home, and that's because of the police report that was withheld for 7 years that timestamped police in my home that wasn't seen arriving on the security cameras. That's how we know they come in from the underground trap door, now removed trap door. So police were under my home when I shot. And that's the problem, is I'm reporting crimes, burglaries, to police that were involved in committing the crimes. There's the big problem. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.